You're welcome to this tutorial this very moment in Excel scale up tutorial. And as you all know, this is a master class to mastering your Excel. Now we're going to be looking at something very important. The first thing we're looking at today is what we call test function. So let's go ahead to rename this sheet 2 to test function. So test function, what it looks like. So when do we use test function? Test function can be used to convert some values we have to percentages. You have some data and you want to alter how they look like. You want to transform them to something very good. So let's begin by dropping some value here. Let's say you have your value, you have your description, so we have your formula. All right, permit me to expand this so that you can accommodate more strings or thereabout. Now we have value. Let's say you type something for a client. It's written 0.25678 30. You really type this and your client wants you to get a percentage out of this decimal, a percentage, and you want to do that. So how do you get a percentage with no decimal? When you have decimal point, you can have something like 24.5, 26.7, 2.1 thereabout. So we want to get the percentage out of this decimal without any decimal points. Are we together? Alright, so let's head on to the formula. What do we use? We use the test function, the test formula. So write equal to, you have your test written there, and you open your brackets. When you open it, it's asking for the value. The value we're looking up for is A2, and then you bring your bracket open, then you bring up your quotation mark. You write 0%, and you close up your quotation, and finally your bracket is closed up, and then you press enter. You see what you got? 26%. This auto rounded is up 26%. Now we want to drag this down to replicate the same value. And what if you really want to get a one decimal in your percentage value? What do you do? The same formula, but we're going to make some alteration. So what do you do? Equal to test function. I told you it could be capital letters, it could be small letters, the whole thing will still work out way. So the value now is A3. You bring your comma, then the test format or the format text, you bring your quotation, double quotation mark. This time around we want 0.0. I'm putting 0.0 because I'm telling Excel that I want a decimal, one decimal after the percentage. So after 0.0, I bring up the percentage, and then my double quotation, I close it up and I press enter. It gives us 25.7. As a mathematician, you know that this thing is correct. It rounds up. So finally, what of two decimal places? Two decimals. What do you do? The same thing, but this time around we're going to do our test function, and we'll bring up our value, which is what? A4, comma, and you bring your double quotation, and then you write 0.00. The 0.00 tells you that it's two decimal places, and then you head on to bring your percentage, and then you finally with the double quotation, and then you close up your bracket and you press enter. It's what you get, 25.68. So this is how we use our test function. So we're going to I'm moving ahead to, let me put in here, or we can even convert it to a table. In our previous classes I've told you how to do that. Let's give it a very beautiful color. All right, now we're going to something great again to do with our test function. So let's say, for instance, you're entering values. Let's say you have a date. You put up date for transaction. Description, and then the rate, and then the amount, or should I say quantity, and then the amount you bought it. So I expand this for you to see. Then they should be bigger. Then the date I have here could be 03/03/2022. The description is LG television, and the rate they're giving you is 34,000, and the quantity is 12, and then we can impute our amounts by doing the normal arithmetics. You have the 40. You can as well highlight this, hold your control key and click this, and you can change it to the comma style as I've already taught us before. Now, having done that, let's get another value like 4/4/6 2022, and this time around you got a refrigerator at the rate of let's say 50, and you're getting just 3, and you just have to drag this down, the same formula, and then here you can change it to comma style. So this is the work you did for someone. Now you were now told to pull out the months to a different column. What do? I want to pull out the months from these dates. From what I have here, the 3 is the month and the 4 is the month. The days are written here. Or the way Excel is formatted, use the American style of date format. But notwithstanding, we can still work with that. So let's go on. So what do you do to actualize that? You are told to pull out a column that will accommodate the months that this transaction was made. What do? I head over to here. I head over to here. Yes, to here. I will say insert column. I'm inserting a new column. Don't mind what is happening up here. My focus is just here. My focus is here. I should be doing this on a different sheet, but for the basis of what we are doing, we just want them to be on the same sheet so that we can do what we want to do. I could as well move them to somewhere else here, maybe from H downwards, upwards, so that we don't interfere with the first work we have done here. Okay, so let's go on with this. So here we're going to pull out the months. The month. How do we do that? We can do this using our text function. Yeah, what do? Month, we start spelling month with M, and if you know M is the key alphabet, then we are good to go. So what do you do? Simply write your equal to, and then you write your text function, and then what are you looking up? The value you're looking up is our A8, and then you bring up your comma, and then the same way we did to our percentage, you bring up your quotes, your double quotation mark, and what do you write? You write a small m in between, and then close up your double quotation, and then you bring up your bracket close. Then after you do that, you press enter. You see what has happened? Okay, looking at this formula over here in the formula bar, you see I first wrote M. When you write a single M, what Excel is going to return for you is the number representing the month, which is 3, meant for what? March. Now let's take it a bit further. Now when I come here and change this M to 2 M's and press enter, it gives you 03. 2 digits now. Are we understanding? 03 if you want the style to be there. Now when I head on to this same place and I change it to 3M and I press enter, it gives you MAR, M-A-R, that's the first 3 letters, for March. Then these same things, when I go back here and gives you the 4 M's, what I get is a full spelling. So when you have a full spelling, it gives you, when you want a full spelling, you need to impute the 4 M's. Are we together? Now when I drag this thing down, you see it's going to give us April full. Not April Fool, mind you, that's full length of April. So let's try it out by coding for December 12/3/2022. Let's press enter and let's drag this down. You see, it gives us December full. Why am I bringing December? Let's not have it as this is 4 and April. I think April is 5. This one is 5. As December is also above 5. It will still accommodate. I don't want someone to go imputing so many M. Please, it's not allowed. So this is how we do it on that month. Are we together? Yeah. So we're moving away from month and we're heading on to the day. this transaction was made. Now, mind you, everything we're doing here, calendar is universal. Except in some countries, they have their own calendar when they're starting the year and thereabout. So, but we're Nigeria and some part of other countries too, majority, we use the same calendar. Now, watch out. So let's change this month to day. I want to track the day this transaction was made. Are we together? So what we do, when you're spelling day, you start with D, the same thing. So we're going to change this MMM to first D. When I press D, it's bringing 3. Please permit me to convert this to a table so that it can help us to do the arithmetic very easy, just like I explained in our former tutorials. Okay, now this is our table. Now, okay, so that's test D. That's for day is 3. When I increase this D to 2 and I press enter, you see everything here changes to 03, 06, 03. If you observe, you see that it's making reference to this middle or aspect of the date. Now let's head on to the day and make it 3, and we'll press enter. You see, it's giving us the first 3 letters or alphabet of the day: red Saturday, or Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday. The same thing as we found on the month, we can still go back and introduce the next day, making it 4. And what do you have? Everything is automated to full spelling of the date. So have your Thursday or Wednesday, or have your Saturday. Are we together? Yeah. So now, that is what we get from our text function. Now we're going to look at what if we want to pull out only the year. No, they just 3 data. Let's say, for instance, you've compiled data of 7 years where transactions are made in your company, let's say in a bank or in a business outfit, and you really want to, because of what we are going to be doing next, we're talking about pivot table and pivot chart, and you really want to do something with the year. Maybe you want to do some filter using the year, and you really want to create a column to accommodate the year. What do you do? So let's change our header here to year, that this transaction was made. So year, to begin spelling year, what do you spell? You spell Y. So the same thing, just at the year, you just have to, if you come here and you change here to just 1 Y, you see what happens? It will write in 22, 22, 22. That's 2022. But actually, this is not, to me, I don't like it. I would have preferred it to be full. You get what I mean? So you just come here and introduce the 4. If you write 2Y, the same thing, you get the 22, 22, 22. So let's head on to write 4Y. When you press 4Y, you get your 2022 well laid out for you. So with this, you can actually, let's say for instance, you are doing pivot chart and pivot table. This will help you to run some good filters with your Excel work. Actually, we are going to go about text function. So we're going to put a halt to the text function at this very angle, and we're going to go to what we call the pivot table. Very, very important. So let's head on to our sales data. Wow, this is a whole lot of data. Let me zoom it so that we can see. This is a company or your business, and you have customer IDs. These are customers that come buy things for you, and you keep track of the customer age, and then the customer gender, country, state. The products you sell are grouped into categories. You have your accessories. When you scroll down, so many accessories. Wow, the data is so large. From accessories, you have your clothing. You see your clothing is coming up. Just a second. This is your clothing. You see, this is your clothing, and you have other categories, bikes. You sell bikes, and then each of these product category has their own subcategory. Under accessories, you buy bike racks and so many things that has been laid out. You have the bottles and cages. You have your fenders. This is a company that produces they produces bicycles, and they also sells the parts. They sell the parts, the accessories of the bicycle, and they supply to Nigeria. Maybe it's a company in Abuja primarily, and they also supply in Australia, New South Wales, and what have you. A whole lot of data for us to play out with, and you have your products. After the subcategory, also have the products. So those that are buying the bike racks, we have a hitch rack. So these tables are so much, and it has been laid out for us so that we can work with it. There's so much for us to look into. We have the frame size for your bikes. Bikes have different frames. We have your order quantity, the unit cost, the unit price, the cost, the revenue, and the profit you make from the sales. Now, let's say you are the sales rep of this very company, and you are about, leaving the job for something else, and you really want to, present your data, to your company before leaving, to show how well you've performed all the years you served them. If you notice, it's 2013. These are 2014, 2016. The data is just scattered. So how do you go about that? When you hold your control down, you see we have over 113,037 rows to show you how voluminous this data is. Now, how will it feel like when you print this thing out and everybody's going through this one after the other to know how far you've done with your sales over the years you served the company? To be so voluminous. So that's when the idea of pivot table comes in. With pivot table, you can run a quick summary of the whole data. It doesn't matter how large the data is. So we're going to take this first class on pivot table so that we can get a glimpse of what pivot table is all about. Hope we are following. So let's go. First and foremost, as I always advise, let's make this to be a table. Yeah, click on this on the beginning, A1. Let's insert a table. What's the name of our table? After we'll give it a name. So my table has head as yes. I just say okay. You see, it has captured everything. So let's change the color of our table to something beautiful and appealing to the eye. Okay, let me take preference on this table style. The table name is called what? Table 3. So I can give it a name, sales table. Please, when you're naming, don't give a space between the names. You can join everything together. Sales table is the name of our table. It's very, very important to know the names because of the subsequent lectures we'll be taking that will bother on we recalling the names of the tables that we use and when to use them for a particular work we then using them for. Okay, so having done that, we want to insert our pivot chart. How do we go about that? I go to insert under your sales table. You come over here first. Yes, you can go to insert and get pivot table, but under your where you have your table design, under your table design, you can still write the word summarize with pivot table. You can also use this. There's no harm in that. To tell you, I'm pointing this out to tell you that pivot table is used to summarize your data. So let's just go ahead on to insert and insert pivot table. And now when you come insert pivot table, they say select a table range. Yes, our table range is actually the sales table. That's the name we give to our table. Now choose where you want the pivot report to be placed. Now we don't want it to be on the existing worksheet. We want it to be on a new worksheet. So you see that radio button is highlighted, is checked, which is highlighted to show that our pivot table will be open up in another sheet. So no harm about that. So you say okay. So you do okay. You see sheet 8 comes up here. I can rename sheet 8 to be my pivot table. All right. So now this is your pivot table. When you are outside this, it clears. When you are inside, over here you see pivot tables are here for you. The analyze is here, and we're doing a lot of things as we continue working with pivot table. Now, something else you should look at is at this right pane. You see pivot table feeds are here for you. Are we together? Now, what do we do now? Your feeds are generated from your sales data. If you see all the headings here, data, customer ID, customer age, customer gender, these are the things that are captured here. All are we together? Now you should take note that your pivot table is divided into 4 areas. We have the filters, the columns, the rows, and the values. And one thing you should know, that most times when you come to check these boxes, anyone that has value that is not a text, Excel tries to pull it out and place inside values. So take note of that. So that's why most times our advice, we drag like this and place them wherever we want to place them. I think we're following. So we're going to head on, to the tutorial right away and do what we have for now. Now, I want to summarize this data. How do I go about that? First and foremost, I have revenue. Revenue is what came in from your sales. So I would want it to be under values. So without even dragging it, I can just check this box and automatically it will go to revenue values under sum of revenue. And if you come over here, let me zoom here, you see that the revenue have been sum up for you, meaning you are let's do our comma separated. Our command style, let's drag here. You can remove the decimals if you don't want. So let's decrease our decimals. Okay, this is the value. In Naira, this is 170. Let's say in Naira, this is 170 million Naira that you made from your sales. So now, this is important, but it doesn't still make more sense because we need to do a breakdown of what led to this total sum of revenue. So there now we're going to head on and do something. You sold something. Are you aware? Yeah, we sold something. And what did you sell? We sold some products. Yeah, we sold some products. So let's go and get our product category. Are we together? Yeah. This product category. You see what's happening? Immediately I bring the product category, it goes to the sales data and pull out all the information. Now pivot table communicates with our sales data. Why? It is because it is from our sales data that we got the pivot table, mind you. So whatever you are doing here, it's not like we are working blindly. We are working with the pool of data that you have here under your sales data. Now, these are the things that we sold. These are the product category. We have accessories, we have bikes, we have clothing, and there are some blanks. We have some blanks in our data. Blanks could be that there was nothing written there. Maybe it's for miscellaneous. All right, they can be called miscellaneous. Okay, let's leave the blank for now. Okay, so now, mind you, yes, you come to your board, you tell them, oh, I sold accessories of our product. This is the amount it came up with. Bikes, this is the amount. Clothing, this is the amount. Then the one that is blank, this is the amount. It still doesn't make sense. So you really need to break your work down so that a layman can actually grab what you're saying. So mind you, this is a row. These are your row. That's why we place the product category under your row. We can go on that this product also has subcategory. It has been classified under subcategory. So I can bring the subcategory under the product category. It's what has happened. Yes, it's true that you sold accessories for this amount, but this amount came as a result of you adding up every subcategory that you have. When you sum all these things up, you are going to get 15 million thereabout. Are we together? So this is what it means. Yeah. So I think we're following what we're doing now. if you really want to expand on your, if you really want to make your work explanatory, what do? You go to your columns. Your columns, you want to make your column, your work look very neat. I know very well that I have years that these cells were made. Yeah, so I can bring my year to my columns. See? You see my years now? 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, and then we'll have some blanks here. Our blank, our data has some blanks. That's why it's showing that. Maybe subsequently we'll do away with the blanks, so I can have real values that as a result of the accessories or the product that we sold, the product that have names. Now this is what happens. Now our year is under column. That's why you have them under column. The first year is under column B, second year under column C, D, E, F, G, or 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, and then we'll have our blank. So this is the year. Are we following? Now, if it was that what is happening, these accessories opened up to show us what were sold to give us the total amount. 15. Now that we brought the years, it's now breaking down the sales according to the amount that was sold. 2011, no sales. 2012, no sale. But 2013, 3 million. There about 2014, 4 million. 2015, 3 point something million. 2016, 4 point something million. And when you add up all these things, you're going to get the 15 million that we saw initially. Now, but if you look at this data, they are somehow spread. And look at down here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Pivot chart even gave you the grand total. The grand total of the yearly sales of this very that these sales personnel carried out. And the total sale is still giving us, the grand total is still giving us 170 million that came as a result of these little sales 2013 and the years that we have in front of us. Now, observe something. If we come over here, you see accessories, you have minus, because it has been opened up to show us everything that is here. If we click here, it's going to collapse everything here. Collapse it, collapse. You can collapse even the blank. You see, everything has been summarized. See what is happening? So you can come over and tell them that accessories in 2011, no sales. 2012, no sales. 2013, there's sales. 2014, 2015, there are sales. And this is the grand total. Bikes, the same thing. Bikes, 2011, there was sales. 2012, there was sales. And there was sales all through. And it gives you this. Are we following? So if you really, let's say I'm the one explaining this data to the board, what do? If I want to explain to accessories, I will just click. If you notice, plus is here. Plus here is to expand your work. Now if you right click here, it will say expand or collapse. So if I say expand, it's bringing out. So I wouldn't like to go that long process. I can simply double click. Even click once, it closes up. I collapse. If I click again, it expands. Click, it collapses. So that after you have explained this, you can click to say, okay, these cells you're seeing up here is as a result of this little cells that we made from these very categories. And when you're able to do such things, you have a good credit about your data presentation. I think we are very, very clear about that. So now let me open it up all back, this, and then our blanks is also there. Now let's now go back and do something. If you notice, we have used columns, we use values, we rows, the other things you can work with. So now filter, how do we use filter? Now we've talked about filter before. Now we use filter to actually screen out a particular stuff that we want the values to come up for us. We use filter to filter our, it could be our accessories, our products, could be our subcategory, could be our product category, could be our subcategory, it could be our year. So let's begin by year. or rather, let's begin by state. We are filtering by state. So when you're filtering by state, so you just place the state under the filters in Excel, and immediately you place your state under the filters, come over here, you see states, and it's stated all. You see state, stated all, meaning that everything that is showing here is for all the states. Now you want to you want to streamline these. Okay, let's not, for the filter, let me still bring up the country. Yes, the country and the state all together. So I will now click on the country, and I say no, I want to see the sales for Nigeria. I'll say okay. Immediately I click okay. Look at the values have changed. You may not observe it, but it has changed. Now, not just the whole Nigeria, but I want to see the states that I sold in Nigeria. Now look at all the states that are captured in your table, but I'm specific for Abuja. I have Abuja and Kano that I supply for. So let's say K for Kano. So I want to look out for Kano. Now, if you want to select multiple items, you can click select multiple items. Then these checkboxes will come out for you. So I select Kano and I also select Abuja, because Abuja and Kano are the two states in Nigeria that this sales personnel have been given license, have been given the responsibility to actually sell. So if I put Abuja and Kano and I say okay, the values will change to what? Look at under accessories now. The only thing that we sold in the accessories that were sold in Nigeria with that two states is what we sold under Nigeria is 2,281,905. But you knew the value that was here before was not that. Let's go back now and select only for Kano. I will uncheck Abuja. I only have Kano. When I say okay, you see only Kano. Look at what I sold, just 6,877. So with this, your table presentation or your sales history will be narrowed down even for a layman to grasp. I think we are following. So this is how we walk around with pivot tables. So please take your time and play around with this. If you want, you can just drag. If you want to delete any of the filters, you can just drag them out, or you can click on them. You can click on them and remove. But I don't do. I just drag out. When you drag out, it's out. You see what is happening? I'm dragging out the year 2. You see, we're back to our summer revenue. Now we can actually change the structure of our pivot table again. Now look at it. We can decide to say, okay, let's filter by the product category, and also by the country that were sold. My country. This is what's happening now. So I have Australia, all these countries, because you want to really explain to them what sales came in. So what am I trying to say? You can have different pivot tables. You may do for this one now is for product category. Under filters, they'll have your country, there's more revenue. You can still do pivot table more than one to represent other things that you really want to lay out for the board to actually grasp, or for the board to actually to be aware of. So in our next class, we're going to see how we could actually create more pivot table and how we can do a couple of things together. Thank you so much. See you in the next class.